Well, hi, and welcome back to another episode. I'm Dr. Melissa Welch, a licensed marriage and family therapist and a working mom myself. This is Heart and Health Wellness. It's the podcast for working moms in healthcare, education, and other helping professions. Women who give everything to their patients, their students, and clients all day long and still want to feel close to their own kids when they get home. I'm so glad you're here, and I hope something that you hear today resonates with you. I want to be honest with you about something before we actually get into today's episode. This week, I was catching up from a work trip to Kansas City, and I got back late last week, had Sunday to recover, and then by Monday, I was playing catch up, seeing patients and getting called into integrated care visits, which I absolutely love doing, but it did make for a really long, just kind of like overwhelming and chaotic day. So by the time I got home, I was just tired. Not like a little tired, but like the totally depleted, you just want to sink into the couch kind of tired. So my son and I just did that. We sat on the couch, we snuggled together, and we watched some TV. And of course, it's not the TV that I want to watch. It's the TV that he wants to watch, and that's fine. It makes me happy too. I love seeing him happy and laugh and all of that. Anyways, by the time bath time came and I noticed myself dragging even more, I caught myself in the moment. And I said, you know what? Instead of just trying to push through on autopilot and doing the bare minimum here, let's try to make it enjoyable for both of us to see if that helps a little bit. So I made some funny faces. I told some silly jokes. We probably sang some songs, and he's barely 3. So the jokes weren't necessarily the point because I don't know that he actually gets it, but it's more about the delivery and the tonality and moving my hands and making silly faces while I do it. And even though he doesn't really get the jokes themselves, we were both giggling and laughing together, and it was just good medicine for both of us. Then we kept going with the rest of our routine. We read our books, brushed his teeth, sang our songs, and we snuggled on the couch until he fell asleep, which most of the time I'll carry him to his bed and put him in bed. And then he falls asleep there. But this time he was tired too. And so he also fell asleep on the couch. And why I share this story with you is because there was absolutely nothing advanced about what we did that night. There wasn't anything fancy. There definitely wasn't anything that would be considered Pinterest worthy. It was just the fact that we were together, and I intentionally was able to stay present with him, even though I was completely exhausted. And for that evening, that was enough. It was enough for him. It was enough for me. And honestly, it was just good all around. And it's okay to do just enough. So if you take nothing else from this episode, I want you to hear this very clearly and hold on to it. And that's the fact that you do not have to be perfect, and you do not have to do something fancy. You just have to show up and be present, even when you are tired. And this is true, especially when you are tired, because that's genuinely all they want. They just want to feel connected with you. They don't care about anything else. They just want to be with you and present with you. Today, I want to talk about something very simple, and it's actually so simple that it almost feels silly to even make a whole episode out of it. But ask yourself, what do you actually do with the hour or two that you get with your child after work and daycare when you have nothing left? I was reading through a thread this week. I like to stay up to date on what the moms are talking about on Reddit, especially the working moms. And there was a mom who asked that question exactly. She was like, I'm exhausted. I get home around 5:30 or 6, and between dinner time, doing the bath, getting them to bed, it just feels like she has barely an hour of real connection with her toddler. I think her toddler was like 2-ish. And she said she's mentally drained after work. She figures her child is probably just as tired after a full day at daycare, and she just wanted to know how other working moms make that hour actually meaningful without turning the evening into a rushed checklist to make sure everything is just right, or feeling like you have to get everything done. And what I thought was really interesting is that some posts like this take off super fast. And I think it's because other moms just can see themselves in that situation and can connect to it really well. well. So literally hundreds of moms answered her in a very short time frame. And reading through those responses, it just it broke my heart in a way, and in like a good way, because underneath almost every single reply was the same theme over and over again of a mom feeling absolutely exhausted, recognizing that she doesn't have much left in her tank, and yet she still wants that brief amount of time with her child or children to matter and to be meaningful and something that's going to add to their relationship, not just keeping them alive. So that is what we're talking about today. It's not how you can do more in that short amount of time. It's not how you need to be more structured or anything like that. It's just how to let what you already have be enough and reframe your thinking around that. So I want to read a few of these to you because I don't think I could say it better than what they actually said using their own words. So one mom summed up the whole thing in just 4 short words. She said, being a working mom is, quote, such a ridiculous squeeze. And it actually made me laugh when I read it because I don't think I've ever heard it described more accurately. And I just picture like a lemon being squeezed dry. And if you're like me, you will squeeze the lemon until you get every last drop out of it. And that's exactly what it's like being a mom sometimes. Another mom wrote about her son's daycare pickup and how by the time they're home and she does the cooking and the bathing and getting him down, there's just nothing left of the day and nothing left out of her. And the point that I want to make here is that she wasn't necessarily complaining. It's just that she was naming it for what it was. And that's the squeeze. So many moms, and working moms included, like to do those things. I personally love preparing a meal for my family. Not every night. There's certainly nights that I want to do takeout, or my husband will cook or something like that. We take turns. But for the most part, I love to cook. I enjoy it. It's fun. It's part of my artful side, and I like being able to take care of my family. But when you have nothing in the tank, it's hard to find the motivation and energy to do those things with a joyful heart. So that's just part of the squeeze. It is definitely difficult, and time is short. And so it's okay that you feel this way. You're not the only one with limited time and feeling the squeeze. Here's another one that really got me. A mom admitted, quote, this sounds awful, but I dump her in front of the TV for 15 minutes while I get in my comfies, put dinner on, and run the bath, end quote. And I thought it was so funny. She said it like she was bracing for judgment because there's such a dialogue around screen time and letting the TV babysit your kids and mom shaming in that narrative. And I get it. We don't want our kids to be in front of the TV all the time. It's good to limit screen time, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And I know for me as well, as soon as I walk in the door, first thing I tell my son is, I'm going to get you a snack. We're going to get something for you to watch. And then I'm going to go put on some comfy clothes and then I'll get started on dinner. So her describing her routine after daycare pickup is almost exactly like mine. So I absolutely get it. And I know that means you're going to get it too. And you can totally relate as well. But she expected someone to tell her that she was doing it wrong. And I thought it was really nice that another mom replied to her saying, that doesn't sound awful at all. It sounds wonderful and you're doing a great job. And I think that's another beautiful part about just some of these online communities is that you can recognize that you're not alone through all of this. So I want you to really sit with that exchange for just a second and think about the fact that a mom was able to get vulnerable about the thing that she feels really guilty about. And then there's a total stranger who just met her with, that's wonderful. She wasn't trying to fix it for her. She wasn't giving advice. She was just telling the other mom, hey, you're doing okay. You're doing fine. Y'all are going to be all right. And that is what I wish every working mom had. Not more tips necessarily, just someone in her corner instead of another voice telling her that she's failing, because you need to know that you're doing a good job. And even on the days when it's not a great, 11 out of 10 job, like you're still doing a good job. And the thing that almost nobody in that thread actually said outright that I noticed, but I'm sure every single one of them is living it without maybe even realizing it, is the fact that connection was never actually about having more time, and that every mom in that thread who felt closest to her child wasn't necessarily the one who had more hours available in the day or didn't work as many hours or anything like that. She was just the one who figured out what to do with the small amount of time, the hour, few hours that she had, and really make something meaningful out of it. I want to take a second to just pause real quick and tell you about We Are Ama. They're a great company based out of California, women owned, US based, and they make all these wonderful gifts for moms in general and new moms, including the Cocoon, which is a great breastfeeding cover. Absolutely love it. It's cute, comfy, breathable, all the good things. They also make a new mom bundle and some really pretty gifts like jewelry. I have the halo necklace that I love. So if you're a new mom yourself, definitely send hints and send the link to others to be able to get it for you. If you have somebody in your life who's about to have a baby shower, this is a great place to go for gifts. Or if you just want to treat a mom in your life, this is a great place to look. If you use the code Melissa, Melissa, you will save 15% off your entire order. And that does go on top of any other sales or things that are already going on. So really good deal there. Plus, I do earn a little bit of a commission when you use my link or code, and that just helps me keep this show going. So I really appreciate your support there. So check out weareama.com/Melissa or use the code Melissa when you check out. So if it is not about more time, what is it about? I went back through that whole thread and I paid close attention to what these actual moms were saying over and over again in the moments where they described really good situations. And there were 3 things that kept surfacing in totally different words from totally different women who have no idea who they are. They didn't all go through the same program or anything like that, but just 3 themes that kept showing up that I want to share with you. So the first one was presence. One mom said it very plainly that her phone is out of sight. There are no exceptions to that rule because she only gets a limited window with her son after daycare, and she wants all of it to actually be his. Another mom said something almost identical to that. She said phones down at the dinner table every night, no matter what. And not one of these moms said that they added extra time to their evening. They just stopped splitting the time that they already had. And so for them being able to remove their own phone as a distraction so that they could be fully present with their child was meaningful. You do not have to do that. Okay. Take what works for you and your family, leave the rest. I'm just sharing with you what I saw as themes that other moms are doing that they feel like is working well for them. Okay. Number 2, the second one was proximity, not big productions, just closeness together. So one mom described her son eating dinner on her lap almost every single night. And she said, quote, "I know in a few years it'll be over. So for now, I allow it," which I can totally relate to because there are many nights when we sit in the chair on the couch and we're eating together in front of the TV. And I tell myself I really need to teach him how to sit at the table and do that consistently and make that our routine. And sometimes we do that. But for the nights where he's sitting in my lap on the couch, he's not going to do that in a few years. So it was a good reminder for me even to allow that to be and be okay with it. And remember that he has lots of time to learn how to sit at a dinner table. And sometimes those cuddles are better than sitting properly in a chair. Another mom talked about her toddler standing on a step stool, just watching her cook. And we have one of those. And I totally enjoy that with mine. I definitely recommend that you get one if you don't have one, and how that counted as real time together, even though nobody was technically playing a game or doing anything exciting. And then the third one was permission to just let it be simple and permission to stop treating ordinary moments like they don't count. One mom wrote something that I think every working mom listening to this will recognize and needs to hear on repeat. She said, quote, "Honestly, I feel like in its own way, all those are bonding activities. I try to tell my son what I'm cooking and what I'm doing. I let him read behind me. I eat with him. I hang out with him in the bath. And these are just all areas where we bond," end quote. So she's identifying how she's giving herself permission for those simple things to be the important parts. So just a nice reframe in her mind. So just some takeaways from that. Cooking counts. Your toddler absolutely wants to help you. So even if it's like folding laundry with a toddler, having them help you find the socks or the underwear and sort things, they love being involved. A bath time where you're just present instead of rushing through it counts. We just like to sit, seeing, even if we're having a conversation or not, he's playing with toys. I'm there. I'm watching him, not on my phone. Those are all points of connection. One more mom put words to something that I think many of you feel, but probably don't actually admit out loud. She wrote that she stopped making elaborate dinners, and most nights she and her partner only truly sit down and eat with their daughter about half the time, but they always sit with her and nibble and visit anyway. And just a reminder that perfection was never the assignment. It was just showing up, and it doesn't matter what everyone is eating. If it's relatively healthy, fantastic. If they eat something as a toddler, fantastic. But it does not have to be big and fancy. Even if you want to do big and fancy or something elaborate on a regular basis, make it a routine where one night a week where you have plenty of energy and your schedule fits, that's your night to do something more elaborate. Talk to your partner about how you want to prioritize that and make it happen. But don't put the pressure on yourself necessarily to do that every single night. Another mom shared her actual nightly ritual, and I want to read it to you because it's just really small and simple, and I thought it was really good. Every evening, she sits on the floor and colors with her 2-year-old for about 10 minutes before dinner. And she mostly draws little hearts and says, "I love you" with each one. And she said her daughter started saying, "I love you" back every single time, right as she draws each heart. And that's the whole activity. It's just literally a crayon and some paper. It could be some scratch paper. It doesn't have to be a coloring book. Just a few minutes and saying "I love you" to each other over and over and over again. How cute is that? And it's just 10 minutes. There's actually good evidence out there that you don't need more than like 7 or 8 minutes of intentional one-on-one time with your child each day to build meaningful connection. And that's with each child. So it's not a lot of time, but it makes a really big difference. Another mom summed up the entire thing better than I could in a whole clinical session with someone. She just wrote, quote, "Spend as much time as you realistically can based on how you feel that day. But in that time, just give your child undivided attention, whether it's 60, 30, or even 15 minutes, end quote. Y'all, it was never about the quantity of time. It is about how present you actually are inside whatever quantity you have tonight. And it is okay if it's a tiny bit or if it's a whole lot of it. And it's okay if that changes from night to night. Before I tell you where to find more of these, let me just give you a quick handful more, just as they were shared, because I think you're going to recognize yourself in at least one. And I know I'm sharing a lot of these, but it was just a really rich thread that I think it's valuable for you to hear and to recognize that you're not alone and there are simple things that you can do. Okay. One mom said her family does a nightly walk after dinner to walk the dog. And that's when the real talking happens. There's no agenda. They're just moving their bodies together, getting outside with some fresh air. Another mom does 10 minutes of floor time before her son's bath where there's no toys required, just following whatever he wants to do that day and just letting him lead that time together. A dad in the thread actually showed up and said something that I really liked. He said that he just asked his daughter what she wants to do and then does that whatever it is because it's her time and he wants to be part of it, not in charge of it, which I thought was so sweet. Really nice way of saying that. One more because it's just so simple that it's worth sharing. A mom wrote that on the nights she completely feels out of gas, she lies down next to her son's bed while he plays in his room and locks the door just in case she falls asleep. That is not something that she learned on Pinterest, y'all. That is just a real mom being honest about having a good enough evening, and her son still gets her right there close by him, and it's good enough. I also want to say something about the dads and the single moms in that thread because they showed up too, and I think their answers matter just as much. One dad wrote that he just asks his daughter what she wants to do, and then they do that because it's her time and wants to be part of it, and he's not running it, which I thought was really nice. And a single mom wrote in that no partner to tag in or trade off with makes it a little bit more difficult sometimes. So she said she'll use books, go for a walk, and then get to bed by 7:00. And she said it like it's, nothing special. It's just every evening for them, but it's still meaningful that they have time together and they have that routine. So just know that if you are doing this without a partner in the house, or you have a partner who works nights or travels, or, you're just doing a lot of it on your own, whether you have a social support system or not, none of what I'm sharing today requires two people. Okay, so every single one of these ideas works with just you and your kid. However, your household is built out. Now you can always include other people, but it's okay for you to be able to do this on your own, even with a low amount of energy and a low capacity. So this is exactly why I built something for you. It's called the Low Effort, High Love Connection Guide, and it's a free guide with 25 connection activities sorted by age from infants all the way through age 10, and most of them are under 5 minutes long. So every single one of them is built on those same 3 things that the thread kept proving out over and over again, but without actually naming them. And those 3 things were presence, proximity, and permission. So 3 P's: presence, proximity, and permission. Nothing elaborate. You don't have to do fancy crafts. You don't have to get on the Pinterest boards to figure out something to do. It's not about having or experiencing pressure to be the fun parent every single night. It's just small, doable things that you can reach for on the nights that you have absolutely nothing left. And then it's sorted out so that you can find exactly the right one for the age range that your kiddo is in right now. So you can grab it for free right now at drmelissawelch.com/connect. You can download it, you can keep it on your phone, and then the next time you're standing over your kitchen at 5:45 with no idea what to do with the next hour, still needing to make dinner, still needing to get those dirty clothes through the laundry, whatever it might be, just open it up and pick one, keep it simple, and that's all you have to do. So here is what I want you to walk away with today. You do not need more hours. You do not need to be more fun, more crafty, or more energetic than you actually are tonight. You need a few real minutes, your actual attention, and permission to just let it be simple. Dinner for the family counts, especially if you like to do it together. Bath time counts. A crayon and some hearts on a piece of paper counts. So just watching a show together with your arm around him, actually touching, just actually being there with your phone down, that counts. And if everything I just said landed for you, but there's a part of you that is still thinking, I hear this, but I'm just more than tired, I'm depleted, and I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this exact thing, I want you to hear me very clearly on this next part. That is not something that you have to carry alone. And it is not something that a connection guide is necessarily going to be able to fix by itself. If that is you, and if you are the mom who is genuinely struggling right now, not just tired, but running on fumes with nothing left in the tank, I want to talk to you directly. I need you to go to drmelissawelch.com/book, BOOK, and grab a free clarity call with me. No pressure. It's not a sales pitch, nothing like that. It's just a real conversation between you and me for about 30, 45 minutes max about what's actually going on for you and whether or not I might be able to help. If I can, I'll let you know. If I think there's something else that's going to be better for you, I'll let you know that too. But you do not have to do this alone. And I would love to help you if I can. So go to drmelissawelch.com/book. Those spots are definitely limited because it's just me and my availability is very much limited. So grab a spot if you can. All right. You are doing so much better than you think you are. Please give yourself credit for what you are doing well. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Until next time, take care of yourself and be well.